Humanity sets the agenda.
Welcome back. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We are into the final 7 minutes or so of the show this morning. And let's look at the situation in Nelson Mandela Bay and Day Zero. They will be running out of water before Christmas, and that is the seriousness of. So let's speak to Councillor Leander Kruger. She is councillor in Nelson Mandela Bay, also the spokesperson for Mayor Nqaba Bhanga, and hear just what's going down. Is there plan B in a place, and maybe things that can be done to mitigate the situation? Leander, morning, welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You there? Pardon, I referred to you as she. My apologies. Nice to be talking with you this morning. Honest mistake. All right, is the situation as serious as it is? Why are we sitting with this? We know that obviously Nelson Mandela Bay is dependent on the dams surrounding the area. I think there's the dam supplying your part of the world would be, just remind me here, which dam is it that we're talking about?
Sure. So the water situation.
So we're talking about the Nqaba water scheme, and we also know that there's a huge issue around that water scheme. So what exactly is going down?
Yes. So the water situation in Nelson Mandela Bay is serious. We are currently served by 4 main supply dams: the Kruger Dam, Churchill, Mpofu, and Grondal. And the average capacity of those 4 dams combined is 11.8%. So it is serious, the water situation. We have been in a drought in Nelson Mandela Bay for 6 years. We've had a little bit of rainfall here and there, so the dam levels have risen, but we have fundamentally been in a drought for 6 years. And part of the challenge with being in a drought for such an extended period is that our residents become fatigued. We have other things which compete for our urgent attention: the COVID crisis that we've been in, elections, a whole host of other things get in the way. But the fact of the matter is our water supply is decreasing. Now, you mentioned Nqaba, and what Nqaba is. Nqaba is a supply to the city coming from the Orange Kharif River dams. So this is separate to the dam levels that we mentioned that are running low. And this water supply is able to add to the water that we have in Nelson Mandela Bay for our usage. Now, there are 2 phases of Nqaba which have already been completed. So currently from the Nqaba water system, it can provide Nelson Mandela Bay with 160 megalitres a day. Phase 3, which was meant to have been concluded by the national government through the Amatola Water Board in September of this year, has been delayed. Now, this delay we are told, will only be completed by April of next year. This will then push up the water that Nqaba can supply to the city from 160 megalitres to 210. Now, we would have been fine had that water come online now, as it was meant to have. But the national government's failure to complete this project and the contractual dispute that they've had with their contractors means that we are in a dangerous space for the next couple of months. Now, the city has been using, for the last few months, we've been using about 290 to 300 megalitres a day. And this is where the problem lies. We are using too much. Our consumption is too high, both from residents and businesses. And so what the greatest push and the easiest tool that we can do as residents of the city is we can reduce our consumption. Now, we have already seen some positive steps in this instance. We've seen that in the last 2 weeks, our water consumption for the city has dropped to an average of about 270 megalitres a day. And this is good news. We want to thank residents who are playing their part, but we need to reduce our water even more. The target for water reduction, or the target of water usage that we should have in the metro, is 230 megalitres a day. If we're using 230 megalitres a day, what this means for us as a city is, for the water that we do have in our dams, we get to extend how many days we have got left until the Nqaba come online until our boreholes come online, until all these water augmentation projects come online. What it also means is, should the dams run dry, as is expected by about Christmas, that the other water sources that we have got, such as Nqaba, such as boreholes, that there is then enough water to get to every suburb in the city.
Okay, I also understand that Dr. Gazella Kaiser has been seconded by the National Treasury to Nelson Mandela Bay to try and steer the city through the water crisis. What do you think that she brings differently to what you've already outlined now in the program?
I think Dr. Kaiser is a great asset to the city, and we've welcomed this intervention, and it was something that Mayor Bhanga actually requested from National Treasury, because often you need a new device. So a lot of these projects were already in the pipeline. She brings with her a wealth of experience in terms of these projects and how they should be prioritized. And beyond that, she's a great help in terms of our communication, because often we have a bit of a trust deficit between residents and the municipality. Now we're bringing in a third person who's an expert, and she's saying the same thing: reduce your consumption. This is what the city is doing. She agrees with what the city is doing. One of the biggest criticisms that residents often have is, please repair water leaks. Why must I save water? She's able to say, the city is repairing leaks. Just from January of this year until current date, the city has repaired 20,000 water leaks. So that's not an excuse for residents not to play their part as well. So I think she's doing an incredible job at giving strategic advice to our water department, and also in terms of the communication that we are having with our residents to bring them on board. Because it's not the residents' fault, it's not the Metro's fault, but we all need to work together to resolve the situation.
Okay, so as we speak now, and I'm going to have to wrap up in a minute, let's very quickly talk about best case scenario. How do you get there? And worst case scenario? Is it totally dependent on the rain, or is it the Nqaba water scheme that's going to pull Nelson Mandela Bay out of the drought situation, out of the water shortage situation?
So look, goal number one is we have rain, our dams full. But we need to realize that we're a water scarce country, so droughts are going to come more often, which is why the city has been working at becoming more water resilient, Nqaba, boreholes, diversifying our water sources. The challenge is that payment dispute with Nqaba means it's only online in April. It should have been online already. So the biggest thing we can do right now, short term, interim, if we don't want to have to queue in December for water, is we reduce our consumption in our homes. We do what Cape Town did when they were in the midst of their day zero. We have a bucket in our shower. We, if it's yellow, let it mellow in the toilet. We don't fill our pools with municipal water. We don't water our gardens. All of these little things that we can do in our homes to reduce our consumption, so that the water we have can last us until these augmentation projects come online next year.
Leander, thank you indeed for talking to us. We truly pray for much needed rain in part of the country so that you guys can come out of the water crisis situation. We will be holding hands through this time. Thank you indeed, and go well.
Sure. Thank you very much.
And that brings us to the end of the show, 2 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you indeed for keeping me company on the show this morning. A big thank you to our producers as well. Don't forget the COVID protocols. I've noticed people are very, very laid back. So please, guys, still, just follow all of those protocols. Take care on the roads. Till tomorrow morning at the same time as always. Assalamu alaikum and Khuda Hafiz from me, Julie Ali.
Breaking stereotypes.